Huh? Is it in that email that you sent? I'll find it. I don't want you to make
It was an accident. That one.
It had a
There. This is right there.
Was it Valerie?
It was so muggy.
I was sweating profusely walking all the time. Like I walked in there, I was like, I even got outfits for us, so like we communicate with each other. I just feel like I'm like hyper aware of like just because I always like.
Did you get a haircut? I did. Looks good. Still look like George Washington.
Oh.
70 degrees. Too warm.
She is.
I was sleeping.
It's got chill.
Even though we were like so close.
She said she was.
What was that? Oh, never mind. I think you just if you went that, I've been doing that. Just like I did.
Liberating force.
I'm not ready to continue
I call this meeting to order at 5:01 p.m. If there are no objections, we will approve the minutes as distributed. Are there any students here for open forum? No? Okay. We were going to have a presenter today, but her kiddo is sick, and so she will be coming next week. So I'll go into my report. So you guys remember a few weeks back there was a student, an international student, Oscar, who came and just shared some frustrations and concerns about the insurance policy for international students. So just to give you guys an update on what's been happening, oh my gosh, I'm done with today. I'm so sorry, guys. Senator Sierra. Woo, it's a great day. Senator Sierra, myself, Dr. Bailey, who is the interim director for international engagement, Dr. Hargis, who is currently serving as our interim provost, and Ashley Pettingale. I don't know her exact title, but she was the one who deals directly with the insurance policy through international engagement. We will all be meeting on Friday at 1 o'clock. So we will have all the information and updates and what's been happening then. So I just wanted to update you guys on that, you all on that, and to let you know what's been happening. So we will have answers soon. Next, Provost Search Committee. So we are currently in the search of a new provost, and a provost is someone who serves as the chief academic officer, so deals with everything academics related, and also as the executive vice president for the university. Senator Burton and I have the privilege of serving on that search committee, and this past week, we spent collectively about 18 to 20 hours over the course of 2 days conducting 11 interviews in Little Rock. And so it was definitely a wonderful experience for us, although very tiring. We got to just really see the hard work and the heart that some of our administrators, faculty, and staff do. So just a reminder to thank anyone that works for the university, because we're thankful to have people who enjoy working with students and create a family environment for us. So that's something that was really touching that both of us learned this past weekend, or this past week. I don't know, the days all kind of ran together. So we will be having 4 candidates come to campus February 26th, 27th, 28th, and then March 5th and 6th. Those are 5 days. That is what the search firm told us, and so we don't have any other details except for that. But as soon as we do, we will be sending out an email to you all. Typically with search committees, when candidates come to campus, SGA has a time slot where we are able to ask the candidate questions. And so not exactly sure what time of day that's going to fall on what day. And so as soon as we know, we will let all of you know. But that is something exciting that is coming up. So when the time does come, I just want to stress the importance of you all attending that and being here. One of these 4 candidates will possibly be our next provost. And that is a very, very big deal. It's one of the top administrative positions at our university. And so whenever you get that email, please pay extra attention to it. Sorry, y'all, I cannot talk today. Please pay extra attention to it and make the time commitment to come if you can. And we'll have more updates to come after that. But that is all that I have. What questions do you all have? Okay, Vice President Riggins.
I'm going to start out by recognizing our one ideal face. This is Sky. Hi. A little short staff. Y'all can applaud her. While we're talking about ideal pages, let's talk about note passing. It's become a little bit excessive, and now that live stream is back in action and it's video and everything, I just want you to be careful about what you deem as important to send to people. We send each other notes sometimes, but it's always pertaining to reports or reports, really, just things that we need to get taken care of that we can't really discuss. So make sure if you're sending it, it's of utmost importance and not, hey, what are you doing after sending it? Let's catch a movie or get some pizza. Let's not do things like that. I don't know what you're doing, but it just needs to chill out a little bit. So be careful. And please don't abuse our wonderful pages. Per page. Okay, also, email. And this is kind of vague. I sent emails today in my rules and ethics position and also as your events planner. So just always check your emails. Just a reminder to check your emails. If I emailed you today, please respond.
What questions do you all have? Yes, Senator August.
Yes, so does it mean that we have to respond to this email even if we gave you the paper?
I need to talk to you.
Any other questions? Okay, Vice President Maggie.
Okay, so first off, as President Lalu mentioned earlier, Haley Crafton Fowler was going to be coming to our meeting, but because of illness in her family with her little one, I don't know, son or daughter, she couldn't come, so she asked me to share some things. I met with her last week, and their office is really excited about working with SGA to make Day of Giving better than it's ever been before. So just a little bit of background or information. Day of Giving will be March 8th. It's 24 hours only. So starting at 12 a.m. on March 8th until 11:59 p.m. The university will be working super hard to raise funds for various options. So in the past, goals for fundraising have been about $30,000, $35,000, and then this year the goal is $50,000, which is awesome because all of that money goes back into either the campus, the students, or the community. So in the past, all of the giving has been done through one umbrella account, but this year the theme is take your pick. So the really cool thing is that you get to pick where you're donating and where your money's going to throughout the university. So as I mentioned earlier, you can pick various departments that involve campus impact, student impact, and community impact. So SGA will have a big part in working with students to get them to put their money back into the university. And like we voted on a couple weeks ago, we will be matching up to $1,000 of student giving only. So it's really exciting. On that day, SGA will be hosting a giving table outside the Student Center from 11 to 2:30. So we're really trying to make this something really fun. PR committee is really pumped. We had awesome brainstorm sessions over the last few weeks. So you could expect things like an awesome balloon arch, some money sign balloons, all music pertaining to money, just like a lot of fun things happening there. And then also some really great giveaways for those that give. So details to come on those specific giveaways. But Ms. Shar and I have been working on a pretty cute t-shirt idea, so updates to come on that. But we just wanted to get the word out that Day of Giving is only one day, but it's a big day to make a big impact. So put that on your radar, and then Haley will be here next week to give more details. And then, yeah, I guess that's all I have about that. Next is Presidential Town Hall. So we talked about this for a few weeks, but just a reminder that it is this Wednesday, February 21st at 6 p.m. right where you're sitting. So come back to your seat on Wednesday and enjoy the lovely question answering, yes, done by President Lalu and President Houston Davis, UCA's president. So again, 6 p.m. here, it's for free. And we'll have some small refreshments. So if you're feeling a little hungry, maybe you're a little curious about what's going on campus, come get a snack and ask some questions. Questions can be submitted online. That link has been submitted for a couple weeks with the minutes, but I'll submit it again. And it's also on our social medias, so make sure that you're also putting it out on your own social medias and sharing it with your other RSOs too. So invite your friends, and then I'm just curious myself who all from Senate will be here. So I'm going to start a sign-up sheet, and if you can make it, that's great. I would absolutely love that. Don't feel obligated, but we do want to have people here, you know, to ask questions and engage with President Waller and President Davis. So if you could be here, could you sign up? Can I start it over here? So I'll start it over there. And then, hold on, I'm lost. Okay, next, Senator Fun Fact. In the light of this year's Winter Olympics, this senator used to play hockey. Right, it's a hard one. Any guesses?
Senator Rivera, is your hand up?
It's Senor Sierra.
It may be, but it's not him, I'm sorry.
Senator Barnes.
Senator Weitzman?
No? That's,
Senator Gilbreth.
Senator Stott?
no?
Senator Burton.
Senator Andres.
Senator Weitzman.
Senator Grider?
No? Any other guesses?
Senator DePartia.
No.
She's Canadian.
Okay, here's a hint. Wait, okay, I'll wait.
Senator Andres.
Senator Vick.
Nope.
Senator Miller.
Vice President Pat.
Senator Willie.
What if I don't know the person's name? Can I still guess?
Yeah.
Okay, you had the very
What?
That's Senator Vick. Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Okay. Any other
Oh my
guesses?
God. Senator Whitney.
Senator Grider?
No. Okay, hint. This senator is new.
Senator Tarka.
Senator Mason?
No. Senator Barnes.
Senator Clark?
Absolutely.
Senator Persia.
Senator Kale.
Do you
No.
know me? Senator Barton.
Senator Hawkins.
No.
Senator Edgar Lucero.
Senator Hall?
No.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Come on,
No
people.
senators left.
Senator Barnes.
Senator Kilgrove?
No.
No. Senator Whitney.
Senator Sanders?
No.
Sarah DePersia.
No.
This is hilarious.
Sarah Barnes.
Senator Slager?
Yes! I know. So, what age did you play hockey?
I played from 8 to 14.
Ice?
Ice and roller.
That's so cool. Okay, so who ended up? Was it Senator Barnes? Okay, here's your get out of here card. All right, maybe I'll try to find one a little more. That was a good one. That was a good one, honestly, with the Olympics and everything. That was a good one. Okay, I'm not apologizing. Okay, so my last thing. Y'all, thank you so much for all of the submissions for Senator of the Week. It is so refreshing to have a full box when I walk out at the end of the night. So thank you so much. Yes, thank you. So awesome. Okay, so this one is definitely deserving. So this senator successfully juggles multiple committees with large amounts of workload. She tries to make everyone on her committee feel included, and she welcomes feedback from everyone. She is a wonderful leader. She genuinely embodies the mission of SGA because she not only aspires to unite others to achieve results, but she advocates for those without adequate representation, and every day she lives and promotes the success of others and often forgets about herself. So, Senator Morrison. Congratulations.
What questions do you all have for Senator, Vice President McAfee? Senator Gilbreth.
So because this year with Day of Giving, it's set individual funds with, what's SGA's matching going to be? What fund is it going to?
So that is something that I was going to bring up in exec this week because that was a question that I had from Haley. But she said that we could ultimately give, but the default is to go to the same umbrella account that past years have been given to as well. So whatever is needed most will get our funds. But we will be discussing and then have an update for you next week.
Any other questions? No? Okay, Vice President Bob.
Awesome. All right. So this week, SAPA. This is the last time I get to talk about this before SAPA starts.
Don't cry.
I shan't cry, I promise. So, for all that are on the committee, hopefully I've reached out to every single one of you, or I've spoken with you at some point over these last several weeks. Tomorrow at 4:15, I hope to see all of your faces in 207E. Again, walk up the main stairs at the Student Center, those nice little like curved ones, and it's going to be, once you walk up, directly to your right, so like you're 1 o'clock, okay? For those who might use like those directions, you know. So, that being said, I will have drinks, all of that. We're going to do, not Chef Shuttle, but a Bike Squad. And that's going to be how we're going to get our dinner, so you don't need to be worrying about dinner plans, etc. Just show up. I'll have a menu pulled up so you can just select it. It'll be covered by Ms. Shar, and then... No, we'll cover it. You don't have to worry about that. And then we've got binders and all that for y'all, so everything should be all good to go. We've got a pretty full schedule. I think only 2 organizations didn't sign up for the hearing that sent in a budget request, so unfortunately they don't get to actually present. So that being said, there are 59 organizations that we're going to hear over the next 3 days. So be prepared, right? So Wednesday, who I think is Hank. Hank, is that you on Wednesday?
Yes. Because
Yeah, so if you're sitting there on Wednesday, you got it a little bit easier. There's like 3 breaks. Just because those are like the 3 spots that didn't get filled. Other than that, Tuesday, Thursday, we're sitting from 4:30 until 9. So, heck yeah, we've got a couple breaks, but it'll be fun. That's all I got on this week. Next week's a different story. Office ideas. So, this is going to be good. If you have any concerns or if you have any ideas about what the SGA office, primarily this portion, so not inside here, unless you have great ideas for in here. If you have any ideas of how the outside, so the actual like day-to-day functioning of the SGA office could be improved, enhanced, bettered, whatever words you want to use, come let me know, come let exec know. We're trying to figure out how we can make the SGA office the best it can be. Obviously, right now we kind of have the resources to do that, so we're hoping to kind of set up for the future so that, you know, sometime when we're in a bind, we're not scrambling to figure out how we can get another printer or something, or better computers, anything like that. So kind of in the process of maybe enhancing a little bit of the resources that we do have. So if you have ideas, please run them by me. I love doing this kind of stuff. I get to sit around and look at cool coffee tables all day, things like that. So please let me know. That's all I got.
What questions do you all have? Professor Nicole? Great ideas, just using that? No, okay. Alrighty, we will move into standing committee reports. Academic Affairs, Senator Eddie Lucero.
Okay, so we had 13 students participate in Posters of the Capitol last Wednesday. They all represented their departments and the university very well, so congratulations to them on presenting research. Senator Ramirez is still working with Erica Gutierrez and IT on translating the UCA website into other languages to see what the feasibility of that is and how we move forward with that one. Per some updated information from Dr. Tarka, we are still working on the potential for test prep. We've got some new people to reach out to see kind of how it's worked in the past, if it's feasible to bring it back, and kind of what next steps are on that. So still waiting on some updates. I'm actually going to yield to Senator Kilgore to talk about freshman career assessment. She had a meeting with Career Services today and got some good information.
Yes. So today I met with Dr. Claiborne at Career Services. It went really well. So one of our goals of the Academic Affairs Committee was to work on freshman career assessments, making them more accessible to freshmen, making it more advertised, and all of these things like this. So previously, you used to have to make an appointment to take the career assessment. Then you would have to make another appointment to talk to a counselor about that. But I've been emailing back and forth with them. And now you no longer have to make an appointment to go take the career assessment. You can just walk in. So it's a lot more accessible. They've updated their website and all of their promotional materials. They're in the process of doing that in an effort to try to get more freshmen over there and connected and plugged in with Career Services. So that was really exciting. I was talking to Dr. Claiborne, and she really wants SGA to become more involved with Career Services, to have kind of better relationships. So I promised her I would plug the career fair that's coming up March 7th. So everyone go to the career fair. So that's all I have.
So a couple of days.
Thank you so much for that and for your hard work on that. That's a definite resource that freshmen and even upperclassmen sometimes need. May have to go do it. Don't know what I'm doing after graduation. Okay, what questions do you all have? Okay, diversity, Senator Marley.
We'll be giving Senator Marley's report since he is not here in the meeting. So the diversity committee, we met this past Friday at 8 a.m. in Old Main Lobby, and we decided to split up the responsibilities to accomplish our WOKE program on Thursday, March 29th, and at 6 p.m. WOKE stands for Working on Knowledge Expansion. It's a program to give students the opportunity to address issues that aren't normally discussed, but could be affecting them. We also brainstorm potential layouts and functions for the diversity fair on Friday, March 30th at 2018 from 12 to 3 in the Old Main Lawn, and how we will get that accomplished at the next meeting. After this week, our meetings will be in the Student Center 207E.
Thank you. What questions do you all have? Okay, SFAC, Senator Burton.
Alrighty, so SFAC is on track and good to go with all the hearings. We have 5 hearings this semester. The dates I can send out about a week prior to the hearings. We've got them all filled up by each individual department. An advisor will be at each one of them. We'll have a report, hopefully a week to 2 weeks after the hearings are finished. That will summarize our thoughts and sentiments and whether or not we want to have an action item about any of the fees that could go to the board. So,
I believe we have some new senators that may not know what SFAC is. Can you give a little history on that.
Sure. SVAC is Student Fee Advisory Committee. This has been dormant for quite some time, so it's essentially a fee oversight committee. That's what we're doing. Sorry, I don't know who's new. I did that the last time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
That's okay. Thank you for doing it again.
Yeah.
What questions do you all have? Okay, we will go into goal committee reports. Campus interactions, Senator Miller.
Hello. I hope you guys had a good weekend. I want to say thank you to the 12 people that submitted the Get to Know Your Senator campaign. Way to go, guys! Thanks! Thank you! But that's 12 out of, I don't know how many people are here, so keep it coming. But I'm really excited that we had 12, so thank you if you've already done it. And if you haven't, please continue to do it. There will be a little reminder for you in the minutes, so I'm just going to keep harping on it until we highlight every single one of you. So, it's really fun. I mean, you get a little bio and you're going to be on the Instagram, so everybody should be jumping for joy to do it. So, it's really exciting. But I would like to give a shout out to the PR committee for being so good to work with and cooperative with us because we have, we're collabing on this, so it's hard whenever you're working with two different committees together, but they've been awesome. And specifically, Senator Rivera and Sander, for really just taking this and running with it. They're killing it. I've literally just had to look over what they're doing and then approve it. They're incredible. So way to go, guys. The second thing I would like to talk about is fall convocation, as usual. I got to speak with the director of the UCA archives, and for those of y'all who don't know, that's basically, I don't know how to describe it eloquently, but they keep all the documents. They record all the stuff. And so I asked them if they had anything from fall convocations in the past. And to basically sum up what they said to me was that fall convocation was a pretty small ordeal, and it was geared towards orientating freshmen. That's what it used to be. And so that was cool. But I'm actually getting to meet with Mr. Hank back there tomorrow, and he's going to talk to me about what it was like whenever it happened in the 90s, whenever he was here and running the show, just so that we can see, what kind of happened then and what we can Anyways, so I get to hang out with Hank tomorrow. Can't wait for it. But I'm going to learn from him about what else we did and know how we can move forward with fall convocation. So we really are covering a lot of ground with that, making a lot of progress. But yeah, that's really all I have.
Awesome, thank you. What questions do you all have? Senator Gilbert?
Can you remind the senators where to submit that information?
Are you
Send an email.
For the Get to Know Your Senator campaign?
Yes.
So that was an email sent to you by Senator Rivera. If you just search in your inbox, Get to Know Your Senator, I think it would probably come up. That's a good way to do it, and you can just reply to her. And then again, there will be another reminder in the minutes, so just be aware of that. We're trying to do it in somewhat of an order. We're going to start with highlighting the executive board, and then I think probably seniors, juniors, sophomores, freshmen, just because that's kind of how we're set up. So that's what we're going to do. So the sooner you get it to us, the better.
Okay, when I checked my emails, I didn't have an email with that, so I'm not sure if it just went to spam or did it get recognized or.
It would be under whatever email is on the contact sheet.
Yeah. So just send it to
I'm
Senator
sure it is.
Rivera.
Okay.
Yes. Would you, Senator Rivera,
I'm sure it is.
will you repeat your email to the class? Or y'all just look it up. It's on your contact
Did
sheet.
you say
Sorry. But yeah, her email is there. So just reply to her.
We would love to have you in the future.
Okay. Goodbye. Happy President's Day.
What questions do you all have? Okay. Do you have a question, Sarah Hawkins? Yeah.
What, I guess, will we need to provide a photo of ourselves or anything like that too?
No. So we will be using your headshot.
Okay.
Yes. So no need to attach a selfie, though I would love one for my own personal records. I like that. But yes, we'll be using your headshots from the professional ones. So you're gonna look great. Don't worry about that. So yeah.
Woo, any other questions? I love that we're having so much fun today. Love it. Okay. Housing and food, Senator McGarity.
Okay, so we have a new committee member, Senator Hall, so welcome to the committee. And then we have a new meeting time. We're probably going to be Wednesdays at 8 a.m. 8 a.m. works pretty well because Jim Neighbors is always free at that time, so it's easy to schedule meetings with him. So for this week, Senator Johnson is emailing Stephanie McBrayer instead of a meeting time. And we want to talk about seeing if we can get a program set up about having prospective students come to campus, like maybe like potentially the night before Grandbacks Day, and then having students like stay with them. And then Senator Whitby is contacting Senator Ramirez's committee about partnering with them on getting printers and residence halls. And then we're having a cookout on March 30th at 4:30 p.m. at the Alumni Pavilion for the food service workers to kind of show our appreciation for them. And then I'm contacting Jim Neighbors this week to get an RSVP worked out to figure out how many people from food service will be going. And then Senator Barnes, she was going to write a resolution to talk about how much we appreciate the food service workers, but we're actually changing that, and we're now going to be giving them a big card instead. And she's working on that. And then Senator Sierra had the idea that we should have, that the students who work for housing should have access to apartment meal plans, and this would give them more dining dollars. And we're working on a proposal for this and in the process of editing it, so we'll get it to you guys for an exec soon. And then we're seeing if we can get Coca-Cola to fund reusable to-go boxes in the CAF, so we're reaching out to Wendy or tasking about this week. So that's it. Thanks.
What questions do you all have? Okay, Internal Affairs, Senator Morrison.
Okay, so we're presenting 2 of our previous notices tonight and voting on them, so I hope you all did your homework. Also, we're starting to work on some stuff with the Academic Affairs Committee on changing the requirements for some of their senators, and then some other like requirements for like graduate senators and stuff like that. So it's an exciting time.
Thank you. What questions do you all have? Okay, Outreach, Senator Stahl.
Okey-dokey. Keep signing up for Day at the Capitol if you still want to go and you didn't sign up on the first sign-up sheet. We're going to be presenting our resolution that we will be reading at Day at the Capitol next week. So I'm going to have Meg attach it in the minutes. So if you have any major concerns, we kind of follow a same format every year with updated information and numbers. So if you were here last year, it's going to look very similar. Other than that, you can definitely look over it and send me or Student Life Committee with Vice President Riggins any concerns or questions that you may have about it as far as like where we get the information and stuff along those lines. We're going to be reaching out to the political science teachers and seeing if they can do maybe some extra credit for students who might be interested in going to Day at the Capitol. I feel like that's a really good incentive for students to go to stuff like this because who doesn't love extra credit? I know I do. We have a tentative day for our alumni cookout that we're going to present it in the exec committee, so be on the lookout for that. And then if you haven't joined our SGA alumni Facebook group, please be doing that so that we can accept you and get the ball rolling with that. That's all I have.
What questions do you all have? Okay. Safety, Senator Askew.
All right, so we met last week on Wednesday, and so Senator Slager has contacted Crystal Hill of Disability Services to discuss heightened awareness for resources available to students regarding, things like assault, stuff like that. So basically just figuring out what kind of resources they offer currently and how we can better make the student population aware of those services. Senator Burklow is contacting the Bear Card office to discuss the possibility of adding sexual assault hotline phone numbers to the back of the Bear Cards. So we're waiting to hear back on that. Sexual Assault Awareness Month is April, so I know that there's been talks in some of the Title IX committee meetings and stuff like that about having teal banners all around campus during the month of April because that's the color of sexual assault awareness. So just looking into that, seeing if there's any way that SGA can help out with that a little bit. And I think that's going to go through the housing department, so we'll be talking to them about that. There's been quite a few students recently that have said that they feel they would feel safer if they saw a greater police presence on campus of our UCA PD on bicycle patrols. Yeah, so there actually have been several students who said something to the effect of that. And I have seen UCA PD use bicycles very sparingly, but we're kind of interested to see if we can get them doing that on a more regular basis, and obviously that'll just help a little bit better with community policing. They're more approachable that way, and obviously it's easier to get around campus on a bicycle than it is a cop car. So looking into that a little bit. Senator Slager is in communications with the City of Conway to discuss adding a new crosswalk to Donaghy Avenue. Senator Slager and Senator Sebastian are going to be talking with the Housing Department about potential domestic violence awareness programs, and I am attending a University Safety Committee meeting tomorrow during X period. One of the topics is storm shelter areas, and I'm going to be inquiring with them a little bit about if there's any possibility for the future of having official storm shelters on campus rather than us having to make a mad dash to the basement of some building during a storm. So that's it.
Awesome. You have a question? Vice President Reagan? Senator Slager, where is the proposed crosswalk on
So right where Donaghy, there's like a driveway kind of thing between, like right next to Donaghy Hall. So students are walking across there with no crosswalk and no way to be seen. So I'm like looking at all the different laws to see how far they need to be apart or what we can do to make that safer so people are visible.
I would start with Larry Lawrence in the physical plan and see, have you gotten in touch with him?
Yeah,
Okay.
Not personally, but it's owned by the City of Conway.
Okay.
So they're going to be my first. I've kind of talked to them, and I got another contact information.
Okay, awesome. Senator Vick, did you have something?
I did. Can you correct my question just to ask you?
Yes.
Who is it that needs to be contacted? Is it Conway Street Department or something like that?
To be quite honest, I am not sure because I've never really interacted with the City of Conway that much, but I would imagine so.
Does anybody know?
Yep.
Yes, I actually got a phone number for the street department, so I'm going to be in contact with them this week.
Can you talk to me after?
Yes.
Awesome. Did you have a question, Senator Reagan? Okay. What other questions do you all have? Okay, awesome. Student resources, Senator Lewis.
Good afternoon, everyone. Shout out to my committee for reading on Valentine's Day. You weren't all so lonely that night. So this is for tonight. So Senator Albert worked with Larry Lawrence on February 28th to talk about extending the hours for shuttle service during finals week. And so they're going to tackle that and seeing like the best possible options for the hours being extended. Senator Hawkins has a meeting with Dr. Seeger on March 6th to talk about training and possibly doing a simulation for that and getting statistics so that they're able to provide their services for all the ones. But they want to do it first like as a simulation because it's much more better effective and it's much more convenient for people to understand why there is a need for training on UCA and for the goals. Senator Grinder has communicated and has gotten in touch with Bear Patrol for extending their hours during finals week, and he CC'd me and he called it really good. So, and Senator Kilgrove is still working on landfill stickers, and then Senator Burton is still rolling with Baxter's, and good job with the search committee. And so Leslie and I, last week, we went around UCA to look at possible locations for Bear Box Essentials. And so we were taking pictures of just like the land, just making sure they were good. So possible places that we looked at is the dirt area between Torreston and Old Main. It just looks flat, there's just dirt. And so we thought it would be a good location, it would make the place much more prettier. And then the second possible location that we're looking at is the Student Health Center in between the freshman dorm and the Student Health Center. And there's grass there, but it's not as alive as other grass. And so we thought it'd be like nice to put it right there. So we'll be in contact with Larry Lawrence, making sure that those places are good, making sure there's no sprinklers. Larry Lawrence is going to be really popular with us for the next couple of weeks.
And he's awesome to work with. He's an awesome guy, so. Yeah. Okay, what questions do you all have? Okay, we will go into University Committee reports. Senator Barnes.
Hello. So, two things. First of all, the FYS subcommittee that I was talking all about last week is meeting on Wednesday. So we're going to talk about stuff about first year seminar courses. It's going to be really fun. Actually, I'm really excited. I'm so excited. Anyway, and then last Friday, Public Art Committee met for the first time of 2 times this year, and I messaged Vice President Pfaff a little too late about it, but so he didn't get to attend this time, but maybe next time. But here's what happened. Vice President Pfaff, here's what happened. Sylvia Harden, the BFA student who came to Public Art, kind of talking about a proposal for a public art project that she was working on for a thesis. She actually came back and confirmed the project, so she's going to have, she's going to be creating and has been creating 25 steel rabbits. They're going to be surrounding 2 large like steel wire structures, almost like a garden, and there's going to be like little 3D printed flowers on the piece, on the wire structures, and that's going to be behind McCaslin, or like in that little like area between McCaslin and Wingo, and that was actually that's where I wanted it to be, and she was like going over several locations, and when she said that I was really excited, because I love that place and nothing ever happens over there. And so yeah, that's going to be April 5th through 26th, so it's going to be almost the entire month of April, which is really cool. And she'll start installation March 28th and then end the 4th, 5th, and so it'll be up until the end of April. They actually approached, Dr. Seymour kind of like directed a question at me asking if I could come to you guys and like see if we wanted to, this would be more of a Vice President Pfaff question, but maybe also Vice President McAfee, like not sponsoring it in any monetary way, just like providing public like signage for it or something like that, like trying to get the word out about the piece since it's between Wingo and McCaslin. It's not, I mean, that's well trodden, but it's like people maybe won't know about it unless there's signage. I don't know. So I'll talk to y'all about it. And then Dr. Seymour reviewed a lot of our past funding for public art pieces. So she started with she talked about the alumni circle design, if you heard about that, which it was a very long time ago. So it was in like 2008, 2007, 2008, and it was for the centennial. And this was like an over $1 million project that Lou Harden wanted to occur, and it was going to be like a gazebo kind of thing around the alumni circle, but it got, like the recession happened, so it got kind of cast away, and they turned alumni circle into like what it is now, the bus like turnaround thing, which it used to not look like that. I didn't know that. And then she just talked about a lot of the other stuff and talked about the big naturals and how the big naturals are gonna stick around for just a little bit longer, but kind of segued into a like a proposal to have something else, because public art does not have a budget whatsoever to provide anything, so they'd have to apply for grants or do something like that, but really push in for like in the next 2 years to have another public art artifact or project or something like that. So President Davis was also in attendance, and he expressed immense support for public art on campus and being intentional about making it an important part of our campus. So that was really great. He was really excited about it and wants us to kind of bring more ideas to our next meeting. And then Brian Young, the director of the Baum Art Gallery, he provided kind of several options for other public art, like artist in residence ideas and things like that, and like gave us names and stuff, and we were all really, I mean, every single committee member was really excited to hear his ideas, and really we're kind of like surprised that he didn't speak about it until the very end of the committee meeting, and then we were like, well dang, we could have talked about this the entire time. But so I think that we'll talk more about what Brian Young presented the next meeting, which will probably be in like early April, around when Sylvia Harden will have her project up. So that'll be exciting, and public art is alive and kicking no matter the amount of budget we do not
So, and FYS subcommittee, heck yeah, okay, that's it.
Yeah, that's been a
Yes.
how permanent are the buddies? Like, how long will they be here?
They're only gonna be here April 5th through 26th, not gonna be here around. There's I'm not gonna say that they're not gonna be here ever again, but that's the amount of time that Sylvia Hardin has them set up to be around. But they're really cute.
I have a question about big naturals.
Yes.
So several are leaning a little bit forwards. Don't know if it's gonna fall forwards or what's gonna happen. Are they aware of that?
So, completely aware, we talked about it. So the guy who did it, Patrick Doherty, he had an intern, I can't remember her name, but she was in the art department, and she worked really closely with him as he was creating the Big Natural. So she's coming back, I think this semester, definitely this semester, to rehabilitize and revitalize them and everything. Rehabilitate and revitalize them. And yes, they're completely aware of their leaning. One of them apparently leaned already, but now it's leaning more. So that's something we talked about.
It's just been a slight safety concern. I don't know if it's gonna fall on me every time I want mine or not.
It's being
awesome. Okay. Any other university committee reports? No? Okay. We will go into unfinished business. There is none, so we will go into new business. Vice President Taft.
All right. I move that, in accordance with the Finance Committee, the UCA SGA adopt a proposed amendment to Bylaw E, Article 2, Section 1, as stated in the previous notice.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that in accordance with the Finance Committee, the UCA SGA adopt the proposed amendment to Bylaw E, Article 2, Section 1, as stated in the previous notice. Discussion on the motion, Vice President Taft.
Awesome. So, because I'm sure that every one of you looked over this thoroughly, I shouldn't take too much time to explain it. The purpose of this is to kind of readjust our budgeting system through the Constitution. Currently it states that based off of the fees that we receive, we allocate 80% to SAPA, 10% to emergency SAPA, 10% to general operations. I'm proposing that we readjust that so that 87.5% go to SAPA, 5% go to emergency SAPA, and 7.5% go to general operations. This is purely to kind of update our system right now. There's wasted funds going towards emergency SAPA as well as general operations. I've never seen us spend that 10% that's generally allocated to each of those. The greater spending between the two 10% generally goes towards general operations. That's why I'm proposing we leave it at 7.5. If we even spend 1% of our emergency SAPA funding, I'll be surprised. But granted, we do want to have those funds there in the event that there is an organization or there are organizations that come and request quite a bit of funding. So this is just kind of revamping the system and again reprioritizing the amount of money that we're able to give back to the student or to the organizations and the students who request funding for conferences and other events, whether on campus or off campus. So that's what it is.
Any other discussion on the motion? Is anyone confused? It's okay to be confused. Ask questions. Do you have a question? Sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to rise in support of this. For those who have not actually looked at the finance or are very bored with past finance report every week, it is true that SAPA, for emergency SAPA, doesn't typically spend the normal 10%, so that extra money just goes back into other funds, and it's kind of a misallocation of funds, really. What we're trying to do is, he's trying to do is curb that and be able to use that fund for SAPA in general, so that way they could be able to give more SAPA funds to other organizations that request it the first time. And this, in his own words, would increase SAPA roughly $80,000 for RSOs by doing this. Isn't that what you said?
No.
Oh, I am sorry. There was a miscommunication there earlier, but it would increase the amount of funds for the RSOs. The number may be incorrect there, but it's a margin.
Senator Eddie Lucero.
So I'm also going to rise in support of this. I think it's very important that as the Student Government Association, our motto is students first. And what better way to put students first than by funding things that the students on our campus want, that RSOs and departments request money for. So by increasing, moving funds from emergency staff and decreasing that amount, because it is essentially it's wasted money. It's not saying like the money just disappears, but it's not used for students' needs. So by increasing the amount from 80% to 87.5% in the general SAFA fund, we're able to provide more money to students that request it, more organizations and departments that request it, as opposed to putting that 10% in emergency SAFA and not being used and then sitting in the reserve account.
Any other discussion on the motion? Sure, hand up. Yep. Okay. Alrighty. It has been moved and seconded that that in accordance with the Finance Committee, the UCA SGA adopt the proposed amendment to Bylaw E, Article 2, Section 1, as stated in the previous notice. Roll call vote.
Abbott?
Yes.
Askew?
Yes.
Address? Folly?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
Berklow? Burton?
Yes.
Kale?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
DePersia?
Yes.
Ettinger Lucero?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Gomez? Gomez? Greider?
Yes.
Hall?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Pilgrim?
Yes.
Lockings?
Yes.
Lavera?
Yes.
Mason?
Yes.
Marbley? I vote yes. McGarity?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Asile?
Yes.
Bath?
Yes.
Ramirez?
Yes.
Riggins?
Yes.
Sander?
Yes.
Sebastian? Sierra?
Yes.
Slazier?
Yes.
Sock?
Yes.
Tarka?
Yes.
Teeter?
Yes.
Vic?
Yes.
Weitzman?
Yes.
Whitby?
Yes.
Willie?
Yes.
With 39 yeses, 0 noes, and 0 abstentions, the motion passes. Vice President Bath.
All right. I move that in accordance with the Finance Committee, the UCA SGA adopt the proposed amendment to Bylaw D, Article 1, Section 1C, as stated in the previous notice.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that in accordance with the Finance Committee, the UCA SGA adopt the proposed amendment to Bylaw D, Article 1, Section 1C, as stated in the previous notice. Discussion on the motion, Vice President Bath.
All right. So, the purpose of this previous notice is to kind of, and as you may have seen if you looked through the previous notices, is to kind of readjust, A, where the Constitution states how our reserve balance should be handled through each semester, as well as up the amount that should remain in the reserve account constitutionally. So, as this states, it's simply adding into one of the bylaws that the SGA reserve account should not fall below a $75,000 balance. Currently, the Constitution states that we shouldn't fall below a $50,000 balance. Given our operations currently, as well as where we're hoping to be in the future, I believe that we should. I believe that $75,000 is modest for what it should be, but I think that this is a very appropriate amount to up it to, because again, the purpose of this is to ensure that in the event that anything were to happen or we were to no longer, have a substantial amount of money in our reserve account, $75,000 would support us for a year. Whether it's through readership, our new bike share program that we've now dedicated money to, SAFA funding for a semester before, and to essentially hold us off until we got a reallocation of our funds, and then basic operations of the office, so printing services, as well as paying our student employees. So I believe this is ideal, and again, like I said, sort of modest. For any that may have confusion, there's a lot of companies as well as banks that operate on the same principle. If you ever encountered anything like a reserve ratio, banks have to hold a certain amount of money in their vaults by law, and so this is kind of keeping us in that same standards to ensure that we're not just spending all of our money and then we don't have anything to actually support our basic needs. So that's kind of the charge behind this.
Vice President McAfee.
I have a question to Vice President Bath. What would happen if we did reach this minimum, would spending just freeze, or what would happen?
Yeah, so in the event that we do below $180,000, not only would I be very saddened by this and hope to never see this, but it would be a matter of if SAPA happened, then again, that's kind of that point. That's like the red flag, the flare goes up. We're at $75,000. It's like, great, we're not supposed to go below this. So essentially any frivolous spending would be cut, and it would kind of reach that point where now we have to live off of this money. We have to be able to support basic needs, and then you build it back up to that $75,000 balance, and then you continue to not spend until you can no longer have to bow into that amount of money. So I really hope that we never get to that point. Again, that would be we'd see a lot of money just be flying out the door. So that's kind of holding us at a pretty low expectation. But yeah, if that were to happen, that's kind of what we would see, is we'd see stopping spending. But obviously we have to pay our employees, and we have to still provide printing and such, and we have to stay committed to the amount of money that we've allocated towards organizations. But again, I would hope to not see that anytime in the near future.
Is there any other discussion on the motion? Any questions, confusion? Who has their hand up? I can't see. Oh, Senator Lockings.
Okay, so I know we just reallocated the money percentage-wise to give the students more. So would us raising our standard balance to 75 be taking away from the money that we're giving to the students, or how does that work?
Yeah, great question. So think of our reserve account as like a savings account, right? And SAPA is like our checking account. Okay, so I'll use an example of my own checking account, right? So I don't just transfer money out of my savings. I don't pay for things. If I go to Walmart and I'm gonna pick up a couple things, I'm not gonna pay for it out of my savings account. It comes out of my checking account, right? So like your debit card, if you write a check, that's coming out of your checking account. That's what those three accounts are for, right? So that's kind of our front line. And then our reserve account is like, okay, I want to buy a car type of thing. And then you're like, okay, well, I have the savings for that, okay? And so by kind of separating those, we're not necessarily limiting the amount of money that we can give out to students, because we don't just take out this money and reallocate it back to students. Granted, sometimes, depending on how SAFA falls, say if a lot of times we over allocate simply because we don't always get that money back in requests. Sometimes if that were to happen, if we were to get every dollar requested as payment, then yeah, we might have to dip back into our reserve account, and that's fine. That's what it's there for. But this isn't restricting the amount of money that students have. The way I like to think about it is it's kind of like it's a projects account in the sense that we like to see things. We say, all right, we have the finances to go and make that happen, right? So let's, like I said for my example, that's a car that I can afford. Great, I'm going to go get that. Kind of like we've done with Zaxter. That's a goal. That's a project that we can see. Let's go after that. We have the finances to support it. So it's not restricting the amount of money we have to give out. It's simply ensuring that we don't fall below a point where we no longer can give money out.
Does that answer your question? Are there any other questions? Senator Gilbert.
Point of information. So what made you arrive at the number of 75,000 instead of say, 100,000 or 60,000 or something else?
Yeah. So it was a 50% increase. That was the basis of of where I reached that $75,000 mark. I don't think 100% increase from 50,000 to 100,000 would have been necessary. Perhaps in the future, if a future SGA decides that, we've got $600,000 in our reserve account rather than, $240,000, then sure, maybe that $100,000 might be something that they're more inclined to reach for. I don't think that was necessary. Again, do I see us dropping down below $100,000? No. So is the cap an essential that it's 75? No. Could it be 100? Sure. I don't think that it's necessary. I think that the 75,000, the 50% increase is very reasonable. It also keeps us in line as our growth increases. That cap kind of tends to increase as we increase our basic operations. So that's kind of how I arrived at that number.
Are there any other questions or discussions? It's okay to be confused if you are. No? Okay.
has been moved and seconded that in accordance with the Finance Committee, the UCA SGA adopt the proposed amendment to Bylaw D, Article 1, Section 1C as stated in the previous notice. Roll call vote.
Abbott?
Yes.
Askew?
Yes.
Address? Bally?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
Berkla? Burton?
Yes.
Kale?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
DePersia? Edinger Lucero?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Gomez?
Yes.
Gomez?
Yes.
Greider?
Yes.
Hall?
Yes.
Hawkins?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Kilgrove?
Yes.
Watkins? Lavera?
Yes.
Mason?
Yes.
Marbley? I vote yes. McGarity?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Asile?
Yes.
Bath?
Yes.
Ramirez?
Yes.
Riggins?
Yes.
Sander?
Yes.
Sebastian?
Yes.
Sierra?
Yes.
Slazier?
Yes.
Stock?
Yes.
Tarka?
Yes.
Teeter?
Yes.
Vic?
Yes.
Weitzman?
Yes.
Whitby?
Yes.
Willie?
With 39 yeses, 0 noes, and 0 abstentions, the motion passes. Vice President Bass.
Great. In accordance with the Finance Committee, or I move that in accordance with the Finance Committee, the UCA SGA adopt the proposed amendment to Bylaw E, Article 3, Section 3J, as stated in the previous notes.
Second. What happened, Spencer?
Second.
Too late. It has been moved and seconded that in accordance with the Finance Committee, the UCA SGA adopt the proposed amendment to Bylaw E, Article 3, Section 3J, as stated in the previous notice. Discussion on the motion. Vice President Bass.
Okay, this one's pretty self-explanatory. It's just updating what we just voted on, so it's simply removing from the kind of odd place that this clause was in the Constitution, and then upping it to the 75 that we just voted on, and removing it from the previous place.
Any other discussion on the motion? Any questions? Senator Gilbert.
Point of information, what would be the procedure to do a hand vote on this rather than a roll call vote?
I mean, that's at
So
my, yes, Vice President.
we're voting on an amendment to the Constitution, so it's got to be a roll call vote.
Any other discussion or questions? No. Alrighty. In accordance with, it has been moved and seconded that in accordance with the Finance Committee, the UCA SGA adopt the proposed amendment to Bylaw E, Article 3, Section 3J, as stated in the previous notice. Roll call vote.
Abbott?
Yes.
Askew?
Yes.
Address? Bally?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
Berkla? Burton?
Yes.
Kale?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
DePersia? Edinger Lucero?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Gomez?
Yes.
Gomez? Greider?
Yes.
Hall?
Yes.
Hawkins?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Kilgrove?
Yes.
Watkins?
Yes.
Lavera?
Yes.
Mason?
Yes.
Marbley? I vote yes. McGarity?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Asile?
Yes.
Bath?
Yes.
Ramirez?
Yes.
Riggins?
Yes.
Sander?
Yes.
Sebastian?
Yes.
Sierra?
Yes.
Slazier?
Yes.
Stock?
Yes.
Tarka?
Yes.
Teeter?
Yes.
Vic?
Yes.
Weitzman?
Yes.
Whitby?
Yes.
Willie?
Yes.
That looks like 59.
Sorry.
With 39 yeses, 0 noes, and 0 abstentions, the motion passes. Any other new business? Senator Gilbert.
I move that we amend Bylaw C, Article 1, Section 2 to 4, page 19, in accordance with the previous notice. This is to further clarify the demerit removal policies as well as correct informatical errors or inconsistencies.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded that we amend Bylaw C, Article 1, Section 2 through 4, page 19, in accordance with the previous notice. Discussion on the motion, Senator Gilbert.
Okay, so, for those who have it in front of them, who that is or not, but I'll have a chance to look at it anyway in the past 2 weeks. Basically, what we're doing is we're amending the whole demerit process for clarity and things like that. And also on this, we do have a small friendly limit that we noticed was a typo on our thing. We would like to change to just
A friendly limit?
yes, we had a small typo on our paper when we sent that.
Where is it?
At the end of section 2, the first line of the amendment, it should be a colon instead of a period. For SGA members have the ability to fill the demerit space when the following process, it should be a colon.
Are there any objections to this statement? No? Okay. Any other discussion on the motion? Are there any questions anyone can use? No? Okay. It has been moved and seconded that we amend bylaw C, Article 1, Section 2 through 4, page 19, in accordance with the previous notice. Roll call vote.
Abbott?
Yes.
Askew?
Yes.
Audrey? Lawley?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
Burklow? Burton?
Yes.
Hale?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
DePersia?
Yes.
Edingur Lucero?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Gomez? Gomez? Greider?
Yes.
Hall?
Yes.
Hawkins?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Kilgrove?
Yes.
Watkins?
Yes.
Rivera?
Yes.
Mason?
Yes.
Marbley? I vote yes. McGarity?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Asile?
Yes.
Back?
Yes.
Ramirez?
Yes.
Riggins?
Yes.
Sander?
Yes.
Sebastian? Sierra?
Yes.
Slazer?
Yes.
Stock?
Yes.
Tarka?
Yes.
Teeter?
Yes.
Vic?
Yes.
Weitzman?
Yes.
Whitby?
Yes.
Willie?
Yes. With 39 yeses, 0 noes, and 0 abstentions, the motion passes. Any other new business? Senator DePersia.
I move that we amend bylaw C, Article 1, Section 1, pages 18 through 19 in accordance with the previous notice.
Second.
Sorry, I heard Josh first. It has been moved and seconded that we amend bylaw C, Article 1, Section 1, page 18 and 19 in accordance with the previous notice. Discussion on the motion, Senator DePersia.
Yeah, so this is just to clarify the demerit procedures and then also fix some grammatical errors.
Awesome. Any other discussion on the motion? Any questions? No? Oh, yes, Senator Stock.
I can't remember which one was which, but one of them was editing or removing kind of like the, I guess, reasons for like how you can get your demerits appealed. Was that this one or was that the last one? So I can't remember like the numbers of the articles in my head.
Yes.
So, the one, well, technically, the one that I just passed, what it removes is it removes quite a bit of section 2, which is the excused absences reasons, but those are brought up in another section, so the sections were renumbered, so they're not actually being removed, they're actually being moved to a different section, if that helps you answer the question.
Yep. Okay, awesome. Vice President Bowden, you still have a question?
Yeah, point of information. Could I guess anyone on the Internal Affairs Committee, the final, like the failure to comply with dress code is stated, and its respective one demerit. How was that arrived at, and why the one demerit?
Senator Morrison,
I think that's what it's been. It's like, and it's in, you can refer like the special rule. We have a special rule for dress code, and it talks about it, like because it's just like, it would be a lot of demerits, because you're going to get a demerit for like, say I wore these on a regular night, I'd get a demerit for that, but then I'd also probably get a demerit for being late to Senate, and, or not coming, so it's like, we just kept it at one, because like, you'll get a lot of other demerits, because you'll have to leave, and it was just going to be a ton of demerits if it was more than one. And it's always
Is that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there
on the motion or any questions? One last call. Nope. Okay. It has been moved and seconded that we amend bylaw C, Article 1, Section 1, page 18 and 19 in accordance with the previous notice. Roll call vote.
Abbott. Yes. Askew.
Yes.
Audros. Foley.
Yes.
Barnes.
Yes.
Burklow. Burton.
Yes.
Kale.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
DePersia.
Yes.
Eddinger Lucero.
Yes.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Gomez. Gomez. Greider.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Kilgrove.
Yes.
Lockings.
Yes.
Lavera.
Yes.
Mason.
Yes.
Marbley. I vote yes. McGarity.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Morrison.
Yes.
Osile.
Yes.
Sapp.
Yes.
Ramirez.
Yes.
Riggins.
Yes.
Sander.
Yes.
Sebastian. Sierra.
Yes.
Slazer.
Yes.
Stock.
Yes.
Tarka.
Yes.
Teeter.
Yes.
Vic.
Yes.
Weitzman.
Yes.
Whitby.
Yes.
Willie.
Yes.
With 39 yeses, 0 noes, and 0 abstentions, the motion passes. Is there any other new business? No? Okay, we will move into announcements. Are there any announcements? Senator Costa.
There is a French film festival that it starts this Friday. I believe at 6 p.m. in Old Main 30. There will be free pizza. And it lasts so they'll have movies every Friday and Saturday this week, March 2nd and 3rd, and March 19th.
So, thank you. Senator Askey.
All right, so we've finally gotten all of the members for Bear Patrol. They've been made official, background checks done, everything. So we're having our training this Thursday night at 7 p.m. and if all goes accordingly, we should be starting up on Sunday the 25th.
Awesome. Senator
Oh. Yes, so tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at the Quorum Court downtown, there's going to be a meeting about the UCA polling place concerning that issue. They're going to pass a resolution concerning that, and so we actually had a citizen reach out to a political organization I'm part of on campus, Young Democrats, and he told us about it. And they're really wanting a strong student presence there, and I think some of us are going to speak at the meeting and support, kind of voice our opinions on that. So if you need a ride or you want to go, we're going to plan to go to that. So.
Vice President Marcus.
If you are wearing casual footwear because of Pittsburgh here, please stay after and we'll take some fun pictures and move around.
Vice President Urgency. Hi, a reminder, if you're interested in volunteering with the big event, that will be on March 10th, and the sign-up's closed this Friday. So if you want to volunteer, sign up now. It's on OrgSync. I believe it should be like there when you get in there. If you can't find it for whatever reason on the homepage of OrgSync, go to the Volunteer Opportunities portal, and then you will definitely see it. But sign up. Oh, also, another one. Everybody got a little phrase of encouragement in their mailbox, in their little sender mailbox. So if you need a little pick-me-up, pick it up and put it in your wallet and carry it around. Our little office workers just love you guys and want you to succeed, so they took the time to do that for you. So I've been trying to figure out who is our office workers. Okay. Senator Edinburgh Lucero.
This Friday, February 23rd, at the Student Center Ballroom is the Teacher's Career Fair. So if you are in the College of Education and interested in being a teacher, the dress is business professional and it starts at 8 a.m. So just a reminder here.
Are there any other announcements? I have a quick one. Okay, so I know that everyone up here has mentioned it before, but if you are interested in any of our positions, including mine, please come talk to me. I would love to sit down and chat with you, and so would they. So please come talk to us if you're interested in one of our positions. Okay? And are there any others?
Okay, meeting adjourned.
Alright, if you're wearing fun footwear,
I don't know what I would mind said, stay bears.
Oh my gosh, that's